Welcome back, everybody. We are going to talk about polygons that are similar. We're going to finish 13 through 19 on this little video here. So in this one, we want to talk about whether they're telling us the polygons are similar, so we want to find the value of x. And so when we can do that, we just need to take similar sides and set them in proportion to one another. And you have your options on how you want to do this. I'm going to go corresponding. I'm going to take two sides in one shape and compare it to the same sides in the other shape. So I'm going to go, in this one, I'm going to say 5 over x is going to be equal to 10 over 6. And so if I could cross multiply these, and that would give me that 10x will equal 30. And so if I divide by 3, x is 3. Another way to think about this is, what did I do to 5 to get to 10? Well, or maybe go 10 down to 5. I could say I divided by 2. And if I divide this guy by 2 as well, that would give me the 3 there. So that's one. There's two different ways of looking at that type of problem. Same thing over here. We are talking about these two triangles being similar to one another. All right, so setting these guys up, I'm going to set up common sides. I'm going to set up the height of this one. 12 is to x. And then I'm going to use the corresponding height on this one. 8 is to 15. When I cross multiply these, this is the only way I can do this one because I don't see anything relating between them very easily. So I'm going to cross multiply and make this so that it is 8x equals 12 times 15. And then checking my math on that, I get 8x is equal to 180. And if I divide by 8, x comes out to be 22.5. All right, and that's what we're trying to do. So then down here, we're going to look at, this is like that big long worksheet that we had. I'm just going to compare and tell if whether they're congruent or not. Looking for reflexive, looking for things that are given to me. I can see that this side is reflexive, so you'll notice that I've got a side, an angle, and a side. So this guy is SAS. Over here, the only thing I know is that I've got the reflexive side in here, and it looks like it is angle side side, which is not a property, so this one is not congruent. Over here, I can, and for 16, I can check that there are vertical angles. I know those guys are congruent to one another, and so I've got two angles and a side, and the side is not between the angles, so this guy is angle, angle, side. Down here, they talk about these guys being parallel. AB is parallel to CD, which then will probably use some alternate interior angles. They also told me that AB and CD are congruent. Reflexive side of CB being congruent to itself. So right now I've got two sides, and if I can pick up an angle, I've got enough to prove these guys congruent. And by alternate interior angles, which usually give me a Z or an N shape, and you'll notice as I highlight these guys, you can kind of see the Z shape. So this side is congruent to that angle at top is congruent to that angle on the bottom by alternate interior angles. So therefore, these two triangles, the top triangle and the bottom triangle, are congruent to each other by side, angle, side. Side, angle, side. All right. Over here, they're telling me that PR and HR are congruent to each other. I also know that the reflexive side of DR are congruent to itself, and I have a right angle, so this would be, if it didn't have the right angles in here, this would be angle side side, which is not a congruent statement. But as soon as I pick up a right angle, angle side side works, where we talk about the hypotenuse of the triangle and one of the legs, so we call this guy HL. All right, continuing on down the page, same idea. We're still proving triangles congruent to one another and how we might do that. The key to this guy is paying attention to the order that we're going around the shape. So if these guys are congruent, I'm going A to B to C. And so if you look at no marked line down a one marked line. So if I'm going to do this, I got to go no marked line down a one marked line. So this guy should be RWI, and they're congruent by side, angle, side. Over here, I know these triangles are congruent by angle, angle, side. The side is not between the angles, so now I just got to figure out what order they go in. So if you notice, I'm going from A to B, no marked side, and B to C as I go around the shape to get these letters. I'm going from a single mark along a no marked side to no angle, so it's got to go E to S to H to follow the same pattern I had over there. E to S to H would be the order of the triangles, and you're going to have to be very careful of this on the test. Over here, I can tell these triangles are congruent by side, side, side. All three pairs of sides are marked the same. And if I'm going A to B to C, A to B is across 3 marks, B to C is across 2 marks. So I've got to follow that exact same pattern. And so starting with this, I'm going to go across a 3 mark down to N, and then across a 2 mark, and so it's got to be GNT for the triangle here. So this concludes the video for examples 13 through 19, and I will have one more video for the last ones.